Hello. How are you? This is Else coming to you from Bemis Crafty Corner, and today we're going to be talking about making our own buffing waxes, okay? So you can buy commercial brands of buffing wax, and they kind of look like this. This is Deco Arts Metallic Luster. And when you use this, it adds a certain amount of color and things to a project. So we're going to be making our own version of this. Now, I've done some research, and I've done this a couple of different ways. I've done the melting the bees wax. Here's what I learned in doing that. Even following several different recipes and getting out a little teeny microgram scale and the whole 9 yards, this is not the easiest way to do this. And the reason is because those waxes are designed to solidify. They need to have other things put into them, so it becomes an expense. So I've come up with a couple of different ways to do this. I am going to be showing you 2 ways today on how to do this. So let's talk about a couple of things you're going to need. First thing you're going to need is something to put it in. So I have these little like lip balm containers. Just happens to be what I had handy, so that's what we're working with. I have a few different spatulas. These are palette knives. I have a metal one and I have a plastic one. I'm going to be using a clear plastic plate as my palette because that just works best for me. Something to protect my work surface. And I am using these stackable containers to put the rest of my powders into. And for the powders, I'm actually going to be using these. They are from LA Colors. They're from the Dollar Tree. And these are called Shimmering Loose Shadow with Brush. And they're in these little pots. And it's just basically mica powder. And then just to test them all out, we're going to be using some embossed paper that I've embossed in this Spellbinders embossing folder. And it embosses pretty heavily. And I kind of wanted something that really stood out so that we could take a look. So we're going to make a couple of different varieties of this today. And then we're going to take a look at all of them and see how that goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear some of this stuff out of the ways that we don't need, and then I'm going to show you the 2 different ways that we're going to do this today. All right, way number 1, we're going to be using some kiwi shoe polish, and this is in the neutral color. Now, there's a couple of drawbacks to it, so let me tell you those first. This little tin is about $8. The wax is clear, but it does have a very chemical smell to it. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the wax, not a lot, and I'm just going to kind of break it off and put it on my plate. Okay? And then we're going to close this up. Easier said than done, by the way. Okay. Nice and sealed. We're going to get that, put it to the side. Now, we're going to be adding some color to this, some pigment. I have a pigment already selected, and it is this one right here. And so what I'm going to do is just use a palette knife, and I'm just going to take some of that pigment, and I'm just going to add some to it. Now, there's no exact science to this. I can add more or less as I choose. And then I'm just going to use this palette knife. I'm going to kind of mush the color into the shoe polish. Shoe polish off of there. And we're just going to scrape and mush and scrape and mush and scrape and mush till we get this to a workable paste without any lumps in it. I actually find that using 2 palette knives helps because you can actually scrape one or the other as needed to kind of work this all together. Okay. We've got it fairly well mixed. So I'm just going to kind of scrape it into the center here. I'm just going to pick it up and I'm going to put it into my container. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on this. There's plenty on the plate still, so we'll use that for our test piece. Now, as I said, for our test piece, we're going to be using a piece of pretty heavily embossed paper. And that's this right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit from what's left here on the side, not a lot, and I'm just going to rub this on like I would any other gilding paste, gilding wax, okay? All right, now I'm going to set this aside and kind of let it soak. We'll see if it absorbs in. Now, I'm going to clean this up and come back with the second way of doing this, and I'll be right back. Okay, way number 2. I don't want to do the same color, simply because I just don't want to have, 2 pots of the same color. So we're going to use a different one. We're going to use this one. This is called Sunshine. And how you open these is turn them on their lids, and you're going to take like a nail or something with a decent point on it. You're going to kind of drive that in to this plastic bottom. Just to puncture it, and then you're just going to kind of rock it back and forth a little bit, and that loosens it up. You're going to pull that out. Just tap it off in your container. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this over and then add all that beautiful mica in there. Tap it a little bit. Get that all out. Now, if I really wanted to, I could get a brush and brush this all out of here like an old paintbrush and just brush it all out. It's pretty easy. You just kind of brush it down and then just tap the rest of it in there. And that's it. All right, let's get this out of the way. Clean up a little bit of the powder that we got all over the place. Okay. So the next formula we're going to try is this right here. And this is paste wax for furniture. I'm going to open this up. It does take a little bit of doing. But there are some benefits to using the paste wax. The first one is the smell. Most paste wax has like orange in it. So it has a bit of orange smell to it. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to scoop some of this out. And we're going to put it on our palette. Our mixing surface. A little bit more there. There we go. You don't need a lot unless you want to make like a giant pot of this stuff. Now this is yellow in color because of the orange, but it is neutral as well, so it's not going to stain or anything. We'll get this out of the way. And then again, we're just going to come in and grab some of our mica. We're going to add that, and we're just going to start mixing this until we get it blended well together. And it takes a few minutes, you know, to work it into a paste. What I do is I pile it and then I kind of pull it back. Now, if I want to add more color to this for any reason, I can just go back in and grab more color. Look at you trying to escape. Okay, this to me is a little doughy. So I'm going to add a little more color. And just work it in. Now, if you don't like the color, there's a couple of other waxes that are similar to this that you can use. One of them is from SC Johnson, and it is a furniture polish wax. And the other one is from Minwax, which I understand is only available now through Lowe's, and I think Walmart carries, Walmart.com carries it. I know it's available on Amazon, but it is a little pricey on Amazon. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in a container. I have a little one right here, ready for it. So what you're looking for is anything that has carnauba wax in it is going to be kind of what you're looking for. That was quite a bit. We made quite a bit that time. We might have 2 containers full. So we'll add a little more to this one. Okay, there we go. Well, we made about a container and a half. All right. Put that to the side. We're going to move this over, and I'm going to get this powder put away so that it doesn't get spilled, because it would make a mess. All right, let's test this one. Again, piece of our embossed paper, some of our wax on my finger. Okay, and then, just for comparison, we're going to get out some of that metallic luster. I'm going to make sure I use a clean finger, and I'm getting a little bit of metallic luster. And I'm going to put that on as well. Okay. All right, so I'm going to let these sit for a few minutes. Make sure that they dry completely, because we want to look, too, to see, you know, does it, like, make the paper oily or anything? We want to look for that, too. So I'm going to go ahead and let this sit for just a few minutes, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so let's take a look. So this is the actual metallic luster. And as you can see, it puts a lot of color on here. Okay. If you want something heavily done, this is great. I don't want to paint it gold. If I wanted to paint it gold, I'd paint it gold. That's not my taste. Let's look at the shoe polish. Using the shoe polish, you do get some coverage, and it does get that glossy look, but the shoe polish is a little bit thick, and so it does tend to bulk up around your design. So maybe not the greatest. I'm just kind of actually scratching it off there. So maybe not the greatest, but it does not leave any oily residue on the back of the paper. There's no oily residue on the back of the paper from the liquid luster, from the metallic luster. And then there's this one. This is the one that we did with the paste wax, and you can see it's got beautiful, brilliant color, and a beautiful sheen to it. Nice sparkle, and it did spread rather nicely. So, you know, we just worked it in a couple of directions to kind of move it around. All right, so we've seen how this works on paper, obviously. Let's take a look at how it works on some other surfaces, okay? So we'll start with the metallic luster because that's, you know, pretty much the one everybody has. And get a little bit of the product here. And let's go ahead and try it on wood. It's not very spreadable here, guys. Okay. And let's put some on some metal. I'm only going to do half the piece so we can do a kind of comparison. Well, that's just bizarre. Okay, let's clean that. There we go. Put that one away. All right, so the next one is the one that we made using furniture polish. I'm just going to get a white out here so I can get this off my hand. All right, so this is the furniture polish one. Ugh. All right, on wood. Because it's wood and this is furniture polish, I would expect this to spread very easily. And it does. And then we'll do some on the metal. Eek. Just want to make sure I get half the piece. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close that one up. And I'm going to wipe it off my finger. And then we'll do the one that we used the shoe polish for. Now remember, this one is a different color. This is more of a rose gold. Okay, so we have our 3 pieces that we did. Let's go ahead. All right, let's go ahead and take a look then. So we'll do the ones that we did here first. And these are the ones that we did with the metallic luster. Now you can see here there's a definite difference down the middle between what we polished and what was the original brass. So you can definitely tell the difference. On the wood, it doesn't perform so well. It was very hard to move it on the wood. It soaked right in, and you know, there were places where it was just left and then it like flaked off. So good on metal, not so good on wood. Next one we're going to do is the furniture polish. Let me bring those 2 pieces up. So obviously it's furniture polish, so on the wood it was great. It's almost like a clear, just a tint. It just adds a tint to it and just some sparkle. And then on the metal, again, you can see that there's a difference between what was done and what was the original metal. It's not so in your face. This is more of like an antique looking gold, okay, than the metallic luster, which is just gold. But again, we didn't have the same exact base color here. So we had to use, we improvised. So we do have some good coverage here. It's not gloppy. It's not, you know, sticking out in any way. Let's take a look at the back of the piece real quick. There's not a lot of, I mean, there's no of the furniture wax coming through. So fantastic on wood and reasonably good on the metal. And then the last one that we did is the shoe polish. And let's get those pieces up here. Again, because it's a polish, it worked really good on the wood. You can see that definite coloration. And then on the metal itself, you can definitely see there's a coloration difference between this side and this side. And it's sort of a rose gold color. Let's take a look on the back. There's no waxy buildup on the back where it just seeped through. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these pieces back. And we'll get this out of the way. All right, so on our standard number scale, we'll start on wood. On the wood pieces, this is a 10, this is a 10, probably like a 7. Take a look at the metal. See, this is probably a 6. Probably about an 8. And this is also an 8. Okay? Now let's look at the paper that we went over. So here is the shoe polish, and it kind of lumps a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it does kind of lump a little bit in the shallows of the project. So like anywhere that it's a shallow area, like it goes down, it tends to kind of gather and pool there. But you still get the sheen throughout the whole thing. And you still get that little bit of color variation. I'd give this a 5. This is the furniture polish. You do get some pooling along the edges here, but you get that, I think, with every product. I really honestly do. It's a lighter kind of coverage, and it picks up a lot more of the metallic than anything else. Probably about an 8, 8.5. And then the metallic luster. I don't know. I still don't like this. I still don't like that it feels like I painted this on here. It's just not a look that I would go for. As far as what it hits on the high spots, this hits the high spots much better than the other two, but it also hits the low spots. And if I just wanted to do that, I could just, you know, thin out some gold paint and just paint the whole thing. Because that's pretty much what that looks like to me. But, you know, these are all matters of personal preference. But those are 3 of the ways that you can do this. I will have a couple of other ways of doing this, or let's say not doing this. Let me tell you them. One, there's a video circulating that says you can use clear glue. No, you cannot. Because what is going to happen with clear glue is you're going to get that glue look, that like shiny glue look all over your project. And the glue doesn't, it pools badly. There's no way to get glue off once you put glue on. The other one that I've seen that's circulated pretty heavy is one using hair gel. Like spiking paste, like hair paste. I'm going to go no. I tried this. Tell you what it did. It leached through the paper. Got the paper very wet. And after a little while, it discolored. So, not the best choice. So, that's it, guys. That's all I have for you today. Listen, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit the red button for me. And, you know, like me, ring my bell, and share me with all your friends. Till the next time. Bye-bye.